The Great Seer Nostradamus Tells All by William P. Lazarus. Chapter 3, Episode 1. They rode rapidly, as if hordes of Italian soldiers were chasing them. Winds off the Mediterranean whipped by Nostradame's face, sending his long black hair flying as though imitating the horse's mane. He could feel the tight muscles stretching beneath his taut knees as the large horse galloped along the dusty road. The city gates had been a blur. Arriving pilgrims had melted into one long, startled face. The cypress trees, the lavender blooms, even the distant scrub-covered hills merged into an image of sandy desolation as Ernest drove the horse onward. For the first few minutes, Nostradame felt total elation. This was how knights traveled. This was the adventure his imagination conjured up on quiet evenings when, illuminated by candlelight, his father counted receipts, his mother sewed, and his sister played with dolls. Astride a broom handle, resplendent in cloth armor, he would ride to face the Turks or the Saracens or the Spaniards, or accompany the Pope's steel-eyed Swiss soldiers in some meaningful encounter. The shadows on the wall slowly materialized into fierce, fighting men with eyes that glinted through helmets. His heart beating in excitement, young Nostradame would slowly lower his visor. His gleaming armor would dazzle his eyes, the way the noon sun in this part of southern France could startle with its brightness. Then he would ready his spear and with his knees, urge his horse toward the murderous, child-killing fiends. Often, he would have to retreat into his bedroom before his actions caused too much of an uproar. Once alone, he fought his enemies and stormed their gates with valor and courage. Holding on tightly now to the thick, hard mane, enchanted by this great adventure, Nostradame dreamed of coming glory. Still, in one corner of his youthful mind, he couldn't help thinking about his family and parents. He should have told them where he was going, although he had said goodbye to his grandfather, and grandfather certainly would tell the others. Would they understand? His grandfather seemed to appreciate the importance of this adventure. He had even come out to shout a strange farewell. Suddenly, Nostradame was lonely and teary. He really shouldn't have left Saint Remy. Beyond the walls lay the terrible demons of an alien world. He had never traveled anywhere, never expected to. There were too many sicknesses, like the English sweating disease or the plague. His mother had fought her wars against those illnesses, using heat and isolation as weapons. There were people with strange religions designed to wean an innocent lad away from the true cross. Nostradame knew nothing of these leech-like faiths, except that they were born, like death itself, in the armies of Jews, Turks, and Saracens that lurked over the horizon. The Spaniards were hiding in the darkness, too. And the English, who had come before behind the Black Prince and King Henry. They villainously still claimed the throne so valiantly defended by the heroes of the 100 Years' War and Joan d'Arc. The current English king, Henry Roman VIII, was as much a villain and a threat. Nostradame knew the history well and had heard the names of French heroes many times before. They served as shields to be thrown up in a moment of distress. Like now, he gripped the horse's sweaty mane and thought of brave Roland, Joan, and others who lived to be an example to young Frenchmen. His stomach heaved as the horse thundered across the dirt path, and he began to whimper. Hungry. Ernest asked. Nostradame nodded. "Do not ever be ruled by your stomach, boy," Ernest replied unsympathetically. "We'll find a place to eat soon enough." He steered the horse into a stand of oaks and pines. Instead of food, however, he produced a bit of sackcloth and sandals from a leather bag thrown over the horse's back. In a moment, he had folded his fine clothing into the bag and put on the tattered, dirty material. He twirled around to give Nostradame a clear view. Like a peasant, eh? Ernest said gleefully, "A bit of dirt." He collected some and rubbed it into his face and fingers. "You don't need any," he said. "You're already properly filthy." He then tied the horse to a tree near where it could graze on spring grass. "I thought we were going to eat," Nostradame protested. Ernest had not proffered any food, although there had to be sufficient florins or ducats in that bulging red purse he adroitly slipped from his blouse into the saddlebag. "We are, my boy. Such little faith you exhibit." Ernest knelt down on the ground. "We will pray a rich pilgrim comes by and offers a sustenance." "Why not find an inn and purchase a meal?" Nostradame countered. The ache in his stomach was beginning to overwhelm the pain in his heart. Ernest gasped. "Spend money," he cried. "Do you think I'm married to May of Burgundy?" Maximilian has that rich widow's money, not me. I do not have a sou. He glanced slyly at the lad and saw the disbelief. You must be referring to that collector's packet I carry. Nostradame nodded. Oh ho, Ernest cried. I am poorer than the proverbial Saxon in a Norman church. These are mere trinkets I've collected for Leonardo. He's such a scholar, a scientist. He's the greatest thinker who ever lived. He's always learning, studying, searching. But he's old and can't get around much. So on my travels I pick up small things, jewelry, ancient artifacts, Jews' harps, even a relic or two. May I see? Nostradame held out his hand almost as if issuing a challenge. Ernest hesitated. Wait a moment, he abruptly changed the subject. I hear something. He peered down the road. Nostradame didn't see anyone. Condottieri, Ernest hissed. Where? Nostradame began to shiver. His mother would quiet him at night by insisting those mercenary soldiers that haunted lawless lands away from stout city gates would swoop in and kidnap him. Good, Sheikh, that's excellent. Ernest said urgently. He grabbed a worn brown blanket from the back of the horse and hastily wrapped Nostradame in it. Then he sat cross-legged, grabbed the boy and began to rock back and forth, making pitiful moans. They echoed loudly inside the wool blanket. Tightly clasped, suffocating and stifled by the heat, Nostradame put up a small struggle, but Ernest was too strong. In a moment he surrendered and sat quietly prepared to die. A sword thrust, sold as a slave, had it come to this? He began to sob softly. Good, good, Ernest whispered. A few minutes later Nostradame heard horses stop. What's this? Who's there? A man called out. Oh, oh, Ernest cried sorrowfully. Boots crunched the underbrush. Someone was coming closer. There were several people, Nostradame thought. If he concentrated on listening, his torture seemed to abate a little. Dear Jesu, he prayed silently, I don't want to be a slave. That your horse? A voice demanded. Looks like one stolen from the abbot yesterday. Oh, oh, Ernest cried even more pitifully. He buried his head in Nostradame's blanketed chest. What's the matter, son? Another, more kindly voice asked. Nostradame tried to match a face to the voice, but the blanket covered most of his face and he could not see anything but a patch of blue skies above, sweating sickness. Ernest said with a whimper, My brother is so sick. My mother and father died 2 days ago and I'm trying to get him to the cathedral at Nimes. I'm praying that the penis of St. Ethelbert enshrined there will cure him. Oh, oh, the boots retreated hastily. Several men were talking. The horse. One was saying, What about the horse? We should return it. Boy, someone called. Is that your horse? Take it in good riddance, Ernest replied with a deep sob. We found it wandering about and thought it would take us faster to Nimes, but it's the devil's own steed. It caused my brother to vomit all over and then he beshit himself. I doubt it'll ever become clean. Let the abbot fetch his own horse, someone said. Master banker, we must be going. Take it, Ernest entreated. I fear its hooves, it lashes out when anyone comes near. I have customers, sir. A voice said firmly, The abbot can fetch his horse if it is his horse and clean it. He has men for that. I have only myself and my son. Nostradame was startled as he recognized one of the voices, Armand the baker. Every morning he brought sweet rolls and bread to the market. Its delicious aroma was so enticing it could draw sleepy-eyed residents from their warm beds. Was the baker a condottiere? How was that possible? Nostradame quivered uneasily under his sweltering blanket and nestled closer to Ernest's strong body. Oh, Ernest cried, I fear death has come. He flung back the blanket to reveal Nostradame's sweat-drenched face. His dark hair was plastered across his forehead and he blinked rapidly in the sudden light. My sweet brother, Ernest moaned and hugged him. I hear the death rattle. Come, he called. Help save him from the dark fiend. Come, you must help. Jesus must be your comfort now, the baker called. Nostradame could see 4 or 5 men all on foot with a donkey-drawn cart beside them. He recognized them immediately. The baker, Montefiore, the banker, Anselm, the German-born candlemaker, and, for sure, the mayor Simon de Saint-Remy. Were all the prominent citizen formed into a dangerous band that lurked in the shadows and preyed on innocent travelers? How could they? He would have to warn his parents. If a small cry burst through trembling lips, he escaped. We'll leave some water, the mayor shouted, lowering a small ceramic jar to the ground. You can get it after we're gone, added Anselm. Good luck, lad. May Jesus protect you. Montefiore called, and then the men hurried away, tugging cart through the underbrush and batting at the balky donkey with a switch. Ernest watched them go for a moment, then relaxed and rolled Nostradame from the blanket. Fools, he sniffed. He got to his feet. Come on then. We've got to get out of here. They may be back if one of them has a conscience, but I rather doubt as much. He paused only to drink deeply of the water and then threw the container aside. Nostradame watched it arc into the underbrush with dry lips. He started to saw something about food, but heard the urgency in Ernest's voice. There was a lot to fear. There could be other condottiere. They still roved the countryside in small bands, although many had been eliminated as kings consolidated their reigns. Nostradame had heard stories about these outlaws, but had never dreamed of meeting one on a lonely road, especially in the guise of such community leaders. He slipped easily into the saddle and grabbed the mane again. Ernest wheeled the horse around, and they headed away from the condottiere and then spurred south at a crossroads. After a few moments, Nostradame forgot the episode and remembered his stomach. He realized he was hot, sweaty, and hungry, but noted to himself he was still alive. Jesus had heard his prayers. What should he give Jesus in payment? He considered various options and decided to wait. If Leonardo were such a wise man, he would know. For now, he glanced around as the horse sped down the lonely road under the hot sun. Along the way, Cicadi marked their hasty passage with a chorus. In the distance, the Alpilles hills beckoned. Nostradame had seen them from the roof of a friend's house. It seemed strange to be so close to those distant mounds. Once in a while, he would wonder about what lay beyond the hills. He would edge close to listen to stories told by travelers. He even tried to read a little of Marco Polo's book from his father's extensive library. It held 8 books. But Polo's account was very boring. His mother silenced questions about distant countries, as though there were something so fearful in a strange land that no one could even hint at it. Someday, Nostradame had told himself in a little boy vow, he would journey across the hills, across the Rhone, beyond the Alps and see what lay on the other side. He would not be afraid. Share this story with other book lovers before moving to Chapter 3, Episode 2.